Hello Internet, welcome to 3:30 AM, which is when we had to set our alarms to embark on the 5-hour train journey to Arkham Nights UK, which was held on the weekend of 24th and 25th of November 2018 at the IQ Gaming Centre in Huddersfield, Northern England, which was really easy to find and only 5 minutes walk from the rail or bus stations. This was the first time the UK had its own Arkham Nights, and we were all anxious to see how it would be received. The event was due to begin at 11 AM, but when the venue opened an hour earlier, everything was ready, with board games unpacked and goodie bags lined up ready to go. And speaking of which, let's have a rummage through the mountain of swag. There was a neat little paper bag with the Third Ed monster symbol on it, a large poster for the King in Yellow starring Lola Hayes, a self-assembly cardboard deck box, a single-player playmat with the Invocation event artwork on it, a copy of the Knights Usurper scenario, which follows on from the Eternal Slumber released at Gen Con earlier in the year, a set of Arkham-themed dice, and a lovely Ziploc bag with some promo investigators which probably aren't important. And there were 100 sets to give out, so most people got one. Plus, you couldn't just buy a ticket and have it posted to you. You had to collect it in person. After a welcoming speech, everything kicked off. All of the current Arkham Files games were represented, except for the role-playing, and it took over the entire basement. If you didn't get on with stairs, they had set aside an area of the ground floor too. The venue was superb, with 3 large floors, and you really couldn't tell there was a Magic the Gathering tournament in full swing upstairs. There were multiple toilets, all of which were spotlessly clean throughout the day, and even lockers where you could stash your stuff and not have to worry about it. There were plenty of snacks to be had, from crisps to Haribo to chocolate. You had a hot drinks machine and multiple refrigerators with all kinds of cold drinks, including juice. You were very welcome to bring in hot food from outside, and opposite the venue is a street market with all manner of cuisine from Thai to Hungarian. If you needed some sleeves for your free copy of the Knights Usurper, they more than had you covered. And best of all, they had tubes so you could roll up your poster and playmat to survive the journey home. That really is attention to detail. The event was less structured than the US version, with the goal being to bring everyone together to play with new people and try out new games. FFG has seen a big push over the years to make all of its games single-player compatible, and there are a lot of people who do play them solo. This was a superb opportunity to try out the multiplayer experience and maybe make new friends or gaming buddies. Everyone had name tags, and being an Arkham Files fan, you instantly had something in common with your neighbour. Social anxiety can be a problem for some people, and we had a chat with a few of the attendees about this specifically. The basement play area was great because it was broken up by pillars and there were corners and alcoves you could play in if you weren't keen on crowds. And the informal nature of the event meant you could pop out if things got a bit much and then slot back in when you felt comfortable. As well as the uniformed staff, many of the venue's regular customers were in attendance to teach people, and they brought their own copies of games which were often blinged out like these awesome painted miniatures. Speaking of bling, the Arkham Chronicle has a special place in its heart for customization. And it was great to see all those tokens, location markers, figures, stands, and the largest Chaos bag we have ever seen. This thing looked like a converted sleeping bag. And whilst there wasn't an official costume contest, Safina Rousseau was rocking the house, and Yorick was around too, with the pair of them kicking butt in the Labyrinths of Lunacy. Speaking of which, there were multiple groups of 12 players all playing concurrently, which was expertly managed by the organisers. Plus, there were 6-player Arkham Horror games, 5-player Mansions of Madness, and 8-player Eldritch Horror, which is a rare treat only usually found at events like these. Us Chronicle ninnies have varying degrees of experience with the Arkham Files, including some of us whose only knowledge is the living card game. So it was great to see familiar investigators in new settings, and play with new characters we've only read about in books. And it was a great shock to learn that our demure, stealthy, evasive Wendy was in fact a total ninja, carving up mythos monstrosities with aplomb. Even with a broken leg, her body count exceeded the other 4 investigators in her party combined. Hoorah! People had come from far and wide, and it was a pleasure to bump into a fellow YouTuber and bona fide legend from the Five Rings community. Hello, who are you and where have you come from?
Hello, my name's Owen Burke and I've come over here from Ireland.
When did you get here?
Got here yesterday, got in yesterday evening and stepped out in the Huddersfield Hotel, which is very nice, and a mate went down here this morning.
Are you staying for both days?
Yes, staying for both days.
And what do you hope to play today?
Wait, there's 6 of you. Have you not seen how the Chaos Cup works in Arkham?
Mostly Arkham Horror LCG and the new Arkham Horror 3rd edition, and maybe Smelter Shark.
What decks did you bring with you?
I brought Hartigan, the Soldier, and Ashcan Pete.
Fantastic. And have you brought other players to play with you?
Yes, a good friend of mine, John Butler's come over with me, and made a trip together, and we're looking to hopefully team up and smash down the Mythics.
Are you taking place in the legendary Labyrinths of Lunacy?
I will play that again. I played it in Gen Con 2 years ago, but I will have another go with that then. It was good.
Did you?
One table died horribly, not us, but I was like, okay, let's not forget to check flavor text again.
And what do you think of the swag?
Very impressive, actually, very impressive. I was really very jealous when ever in Minnesota they had, oh look, come to Minnesota and you get all this cool stuff, and I'm like, I don't really want to fly to Minnesota, even if the stuff is very cool. I will, however, fly to Manchester. Yeah, so awesome. Like you get promo from the Arkham Horror board game, Eldritch Sign, scenario from Arkham Horror the card game, to Oaken's Stanley bag, deck box, playmat, poster, all good.
Is any of that going on eBay?
No.
Oh, cool.
No. It's all for me. We need a token bag for the LCG and we need a token bag for the new game. So, token bag staying here.
Magic. All in all, this was a fantastic event that went exceptionally smoothly, considering this was the first time it had been run. It was incredible value for money, as you could turn up with just yourself and play board games for 2 solid days before leaving with a bag full of goodies. And if you were totally crazy, you could do it as a day trip, jumping back on the train for another 5-hour journey home. Thank goodness there are people mad enough to make 2.5-hour podcasts.